was walking across the street one day, and in bright sunlight, the slit's very obvious. You can see it. And I think to myself, who are you? And the words slow down, and it says very clearly coming across, it's me, Anne.
Whoa.
Wow.
I leave it in, and it turns on every once in a while. I was with
Why do you think it turns on? What is it trying to
Oh, at
communicate?
the time I didn't know. There was no connection.
What do you think now?
Now it turns on when at the 3 a.m. meeting, and I go into this semi-meditative state, and I can feel it turns on. I interrogate it. I say, I'm writing on this, I'm working on that. It doesn't answer me in words, but it answers me in all kinds of different ways, including synchronicities, where I will ask it for something. You know, when it first started.
Sounds kind of awesome.
Oh, it's fabulous. I have to tell you.
You're just like an upgraded human.
Exactly. My wife was a very wise woman, and I thank God she did not let me get that taken out. It's the best thing I have in my life right now. But anyway,
do you have any speculation on who the two people were?
Let me finish. And I don't know who they were, but I do know some other people that are involved with this implant. This is a very surprising and fascinating story. I have obviously got people in my life who are on the inside, and I'm going to respect their privacy. I don't agree with their secrecy, but I respect their privacy.
And you think they take a special interest in you?
They do, definitely. Absolutely. They have a lot of them have known for a long time. I'm getting all the way back to Dr. Webb.
Yeah.
They knew what was going on. They know. Some of them still do. Anyway.
I think Sarbacher had interest in what you went
through. Was it? Or was
Sarbacher? I mean,
it goes so deep.
Was that organic, or was that, did he have an interest specifically in you?
Oh, specifically, that's why he asked. Sarbacher wanted me to write it all out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Something.
Fascinating.
So, yeah. So anyway, this gentleman, it's a wonderful gentleman. You both know his name, and I'm not going to say it because he also has a horrible temper. And now you know exactly, you're thinking, you know who it is. And if you say his name, I'm going to deny it. Plausible deniability. Okay, anyway.
I can look at your facial gestures.
Anyway, he wants me to get a CT scan of the implant. And I'm eager to do this, of course. I said, well, how am I going to do it? He says, I say, because I can't go to my doctor and say I want a CT scan of my ear for no apparent reason. And he says, well, I'll call him. So I call the doctor. He says, and then he calls me back, says, make an appointment with him. I make an appointment with him. And he's all excited. He says, it's all set up. You just have to go over and they'll do a CT scan of your ear. And I go over to the Tower Medical lab or wherever it was. And they're very confused. A CT scan of your ear. And then there's a person who comes there who they don't know, who wants to be there. And there's a little confusion, and that's resolved finally. And so they do it. And I get it back, and it's a wonderful, I've got images of it. It's a wonderfully clear, perfect scan, and you see the thing clearly. However, 2 days before this, after I have agreed to do it, someone somewhere got the idea, apparently, that I might agree to have it taken out, because I'm sure that's where, from the CT scan, the next step was going to be, well, we've got a CT scan. We want to look at it. Now, there is a certain knock on my door, which I am not going to duplicate. It's immediately recognizable, and it's unusual. I know this knock, and it's come to me a few times, both here in California and in other places. I know that when that happens, I'm going to open the door and I'm going to have a conversation with human beings, with some people. It happens. I open the door. 2 men are there. one of whom I have met a number of times, one of whom I did not know, who I suppose there's always a second one there. And I always think to myself, he needs a guard for some reason. Is it because he's being watched or because they're scared I'll go crazy, or what is it? But anyway, they come in. He proceeds to explain to me how the implant works. Very nice man. He explains that it can pick up and needed information and find it and draw me to it. I said, it's like synchronicities. He says, it's not a synchronicity. It's actually guiding you to where you need to go to get the information. And it's wonderful in that respect. All I have to do is think of something I need.
What information? Just anything.
Anything I need.
Anything you want.
Anything I need. When you read the new book, you're going to see a lot of stuff about genetics and stuff in it that I had no idea about before I started writing the book, but it's all there now.
Do you think the two people who implanted it were human or non-human?
They looked like people. That's all I know. I cannot tell you anything else about them.
I don't know. Clearly, there was no surgery. It was just like a
no. It went through. There was no.
Yeah.
There was no surgery. There. It just went through the skin. So if they were people, they were. And this business with this super high intensity, free floating magnetic field, we can't do that. We can now, but we couldn't then.
I wonder if these are the agents that Tim Taylor was talking about in his high beings.
Or if you talk to like people like Richard Dolan, he'll say like the Men in Black phenomena is actually very real. And that's like counterintelligence for the NHI, for the aliens or something.
There's some kind of bleeding off there between the presence and us. And it's got something to do with the DOD, I'm sure. I'm sure it does. But let's go back now to the incident, to the two men coming into the apartment. This was just a few years ago. So the man explains to me that part of it and a few other things about how it works. And then he says it was invented by a man named Constantine Raudive, and they leave. And of course, I immediately Google the name. And I realize as I'm Googling the name, it's not Raudive. He mispronounced it. It's Raudive. Constantine Raudive was an expert in electronic voice phenomena and electronic voice communication with the dead.
No way. With the dead.
With the dead.
So like it's a technological version of mediumship or something.
Exactly. It's technological mediumship. And he said that he designed it. Am I wearing something that was designed by someone who was dead and on the other side when he designed it? Or did he design it before he died? I don't know.
When did he live? He
died in the 70s, I think. But there's lots of on the internet about him. It's Raudive.
Have you tried to match up his patents or pictures from his work and does it look similar?
No, I didn't. I couldn't find anything.
You couldn't find anything?
No. But I did find this out.
But that's fascinating that you describe your this heating up at night at this specific hour that's known historically to be when you commune.
Yeah.
And it's communion for you.
You're seeing that there's a structure here. It's not random. Also, the other thing the implant does is it opens up a slit in this eye. Really, it's more in this eye now. But it opens up a slit and you can see words racing through the slit. Too fast for you to read, except occasionally. And they all seem to be kind of nonsense words. I mean, they're words. They're English words for the most part, but they're not relevant to anything. And I asked him about that. And he said, he said, that's drawing up material from your unconscious that's relevant to what you are doing, what you're working on. And this is why when I'm writing, I can remember incredible detail about all kinds of stuff.
And you've written 40 books?
Yeah, but this is recent. This is after 2015.
Yeah.
I've only written about 6 books since then.
So the thing came on starting 2015.
In 20,
Oh,
no, it
that
came
makes
on in
sense.
1989 and it started working in 2015.
Oh, it started activating in 2015.
But let's keep going here.
Wait, how does this guy know this about how it works, though? How does the guy who knocks on your door come in?
Because he is obviously part of the same world we're sort of talking about. That I think Richard Dolan, who is a lovely, brilliant guy, has got something. I think there is a breakaway civilization, and we're talking about it right now.
Interesting. So breakaway human civilization that is systematically
They
in
sure
touch.
look human to me.
It's fascinating.
Now, then what happens is I start telling my friends this story, and I'm talking about it. I tell one friend, and he's asked me not to use his name. I've specifically asked him if I could, who says, well, yeah, oddly enough, I've had a slit like that in my eye for years. I've often wondered, and the words go through it and you can't quite read them. I said, I know what that is now. And I explain it to him. I said, and he says, well, that's extraordinary because, he's written some books also. But here's the weirdest thing. He's one of the world's leading experts on Constantine Raudive.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
What are the chances? That gave me
No,
chills.
there's not chances. It's an experiment. It was been in him for longer than mine has been in me. Yeah.
Where's Raudive? Where is he from?
He was from Romania or
Okay.
Lithuania or somewhere like that. I don't recall offhand, but there's a lot of, and this.
Did this guy live in your vicinity at all? Or is there, any through line between you and him as to like why he received this as well, outside of, I guess, being connected to Raudive?
There might be some kind of a through line. I can't see it. He lives up in Marin County.
Why do you think yours activated in 2015? Why the delay?
I'll tell you why. I can tell you precisely. And this is just stunning, but it's all part of this. And we're dealing here with something that causes onological shock. Okay. So let's just suck it up. After Annie passed away, is when it began to work. And I began to notice the slit. And I was walking across the street one day, and in bright sunlight, the slit's very obvious. You can see it. And I think to myself, who are you? And the words slow down, and it says very clearly coming across, it's me, Anne.
Whoa. Wow. So your wife, when she passed on, you think she activated this to communicate?
Activated it.
Wow.
And I think that woman maybe knew all along. I do not. Anne is a mystery wrapped in an enigma.